So the guys at Red Dragon Darts have been extremely busy. They've got their new range of products endorsed by the current world champion Luke Coolhand Humphreys. They've got the World Champion Tour Polo. They've also got the new Optimus set. New Coolhand Dartboard Surround. They've also got the new Coolhand Dart Case by Stone 2. And the Coolhand Luke Humphreys Flight Collection. And introducing the Airwing Moulded Flight Technology endorsed by Coolhand Luke Humphreys by Red Dragon. Darts World. We are darts. Hello and welcome to this episode of Let's Talk Darts. I am AJ Emston-Toft. I am one of the hosts of the Darts World Weekly podcast, and today we bring to you an interview with former PDC World Number 1 and former World Matchplay champion Colin Jaws Lloyd. We talk about his fantastic career and indeed the World Matchplay, and who can ever forget that fantastic checkout of the 170 in the final against John Part to win the World Matchplay. We join Simon and Colin in this interview.
Welcome, Colin Lloyd.
Thanks, mate.
Just signed a new contract with us again.
I have. Brilliant. Yeah, it's a great company to be involved with, Red Dragon. And really looking forward to the next 3 years.
How long have you been with us now?
I think this is my third contract with you, so I must have been with you 6 years, 7 years or so.
And have you seen a lot of change in that time in the game?
Yeah, I mean, the game's just gone skyrocketing, Simon, isn't it? I mean, the products are getting bigger and better, but also the players. The amount of professionalism now. You know, I'm not saying I wasn't professional, because I was, but gone are the days where you can just come swanning into the room and look round and think, well, I'll have some of this today. You can't. You've got to get there early. You've got to get the arm working, and that's the only way you're going to get results, because the players today, they're just pumping 100 plus averages. Back in my day, Simon, if you had 100 average and you lost, you'd be so distraught, it'd be ridiculous. Whereas now, you just have to, it's part of the game now. You have 105 average and you get beat, you just got to take it on the chin. Right, let's see how we'll do next time.
Yeah, and is it that psychology that now the kids or younger people coming into the game are like, this is what you need to be achieving?
I think so. If you're not, that's the way you should be, because it's not an easy game anymore. It may be an easy game to play, but it certainly isn't a game where, like I just said, you can't just turn up and think to yourself, well, I'm going to win some of this. What is it they say? Prepare to fail, fail to prepare.
So how are the top players changing their strategies and young players coming in compared to maybe in your day? What are the differences?
I think a lot of it basically boils down to, I mean, it wasn't a case of just having a good time, but you'd make use of the time of where you were. Like, you'd finish playing the day the darts, and on the way back in the taxi, whoever you were with. Myself, I used to do a lot of travelling with Roland Schultz and Steve Beaton, Dennis Ovens. We were like the four amigos, basically. But the drive back was always, right, where are we going to go for dinner tonight? Then you go for dinner. With dinner, you're going to have a couple of bottles of red with your dinner, especially if you're having a steak or whatever. You might get back to the hotel. You might go and have another couple of beers. And before you know it, Simon, it's got to like midnight, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, evening. And so these days, the players, they'll have their meal and then they'll go and relax in their room. They're all getting ready for the following day's play, which is the right thing to do. We were getting ready, but like you just said, it was a different time, a different era, and that was the way we prepared.
But there's still guys, I mean, like Gary Anderson's playing superbly. I know Peter Wright's not in great form, but he's he's a little bit older than you. You know, you've still got guys who have come from what we call an old school, if you like, and they're still, capable. in the young game. I mean, have they changed as well? You seen that?
I think they've adapted to it. They certainly know and understand what's going on. Sometimes you listen to Gary and he says he's not practicing and whatever, and sometimes to a degree he's probably not. He is just naturally gifted. But
so that's down to his mental.
Yeah, his mental strength is unbelievable. Peter's mental strength is fantastic. Like you say, Peter's just struggling a little bit at this moment in time, but Peter's played the game. He knows what the game's all about, and people don't realise.
He's still as passionate about it now
of course
as he was.
Yeah. And why wouldn't he be? Why wouldn't he be? He loves the game of darts. People don't realise with someone like Peter. You know, I knew Peter from playing in the smaller holiday camp events like at Clacton and St Joseph's and places like that, when Peter was just playing for Suffolk in the county and whatever. And you know, I remember seeing Peter playing in the 1995 BDO World Championships when he lost out to Richie Burnett. I think that was the year Richie won it.
Yeah,
95.
it was. Yeah.
So Peter's been around a good while, and he's had to change. He puts in the hours. He changes his equipment to adapt to the way he's throwing and the way he's playing. And, you know, dare I say it, Simon, we're all getting older every day. And so sometimes you do have to change things. And Peter's done that. And he must have been doing something right. He's a 2-time world champion, UK Open champion, European champion, World Cup champion. You know, so he must have been doing something right. And Gary Anderson fell by the wayside a little bit, but he's dug his heels in and he's come back again a little bit. And before you say it, no, Colin Lloyd isn't going to dig his heels in and try and do it again. I take me out after them guys, because they are still showing the younger generation, if you want longevity in this game, this is what you have to do.
And of that longevity, we've just seen one of the longest 17-week sort of. That is a long stint, isn't it?
Yeah.
What did you make of the Premier League now? Obviously, Luke Littler coming in as a whole new light on the sport. What did you make of the whole Premier League overall?
Well, I thought it was great. There was some brilliant darts being thrown. Like you say, there was a couple of people. Like Peter just didn't get going. Gezi was a little bit hit and miss, but you know, we had to go all the way, Simon, to the week before finals night to see where everyone was going to finish in the standings. I think Luke Littler cemented his place at the top, and Luke had cemented his place in second, but then Nathan and Michael Smith, you know, they still had to play that week before to see who was actually going to get to finals night. So overall, I thought it was great. I think, you know, a lot of people said I don't feel that Luke Littler deserves the spot in it. But I said in the Sky podcast, I turned around and said, listen, all the doubters that are there, he's finished top of the phase. And then the night after I'd done that podcast was finals night, he ended up winning it.
Yeah,
so
if you're good enough, you're good enough.
Yeah, that's the thing, Simon. And I think, you know, not just talking about darts for a second, I think in any walk of life, if you're good at something and you're able to, I don't want to say exploit that, if you're able to be the best at something and you're putting in the hard work to be the best at something, you deserve everything you get. So he deserves, in my eyes, to be the Premier League champion, because he proved that it wasn't just a one-off by getting to the final of the World Championships 5 months earlier.
And do you think it's a good barometer for the year ahead of who's in form at that event, or do you think it now goes back into more of a normal cycle, looking at the Pro Tour and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, I think it goes back to normal now. It's guys playing each other week in, week out. Yes, a few of them, they've all had success on the Pro Tour events, on the Euro Tour events. But it's a different kettle of fish when you go out there. I know when I wasn't in the Premier League, I think to myself, what, just because you think you're in the Premier League, you think you're going to get one over me, do you? Because if you think that, you're sadly mistaken. And that, to me, is the way all the other guys on the circuit should be thinking. If they want a taster of the Premier League, get more consistent, play better, get the results, push yourself up the rankings, so you're being looked at. If you don't qualify automatically, just plant the seed of why you should be in it. But I think it now comes back to, we go on a nice stretch now, Simon. We've got the World Cup of Darts coming up. We've got the World Matchplay. All the other big names are coming back in.
And anyone in that World Cup, you think, who you had your eye on? Any who have you got for the countries coming into any form?
I think England look good this year. It's been a while since they've won it. Scotland are always dangerous. Wales are always dangerous. And also the Netherlands. People at home listening to this will be thinking, well, Lord, you've just named the ones that...
The top 4 seeds.
Yeah. Well, sorry, outside of that, I can't see anybody else, and that's not being disrespectful to any of the other countries.
But it is all doubles now, isn't it?
It is all doubles, yeah.
I think it's fantastic.
Yeah,
it's much better.
I think this was... it was all doubles last year, wasn't it? It was, and I think that's what makes it an equaliser. When you've got one-on-one and then a pair as a decider sort of thing, it makes it a little bit better now because you've got other players.
It's a genuine team game, yeah.
Yeah, and also, Simon, you've got a lot of the players now, the likes of, say, Johnny and Gezi, representing Wales. When do they ever play pairs?
No one does.
Gary Anderson, Peter Wright, when do you ever play pairs?
And it's always that...
You just don't do it.
And when someone stood behind you, you're trying to set them up, and if you don't set them up for the score, you know that you feel like double pressure. You're not letting yourself down. Yeah. You're letting your partner...
See, Simon, that's another side of it. Do you focus and concentrate on your own game, or do you think of your playing partner? So, like with Johnny Clayton with Gezi, does he go firing around the board to try and leave tops and tens? Or does he just go his own way and he'll leave double 16, knowing that Gezi's not one of his favourites? Yeah. Do you see what I'm saying? And it's a funny thing, and that's what makes you think
would they agree
and focus a bit more.
Do you think the players will discuss that strategy before they play?
You'd like to think they have that.
Yeah, so would I.
You'd like to think they would. But me personally, if I was part of it, I'd just be looking at my partner and say, you go what's comfortable for you. If you miss, I'll try and clean up. I'm going to go my own way. If I miss, I'm hoping you're going to come behind me and clean up. If that's right, great. But if it's not right, then you've got to come to some sort of happy medium about it with your playing partner. Otherwise, it can just go totally wrong. So
unlike, obviously, this is the only proper team event, and now it's showing its... I think that team darts is very much underrated. I think it has got more of a future potential in the sport. I know you've seen like Live Golf doing teams and franchises. Could you see darts having some kind of franchise growth in the future, like somebody playing for the equivalent of Manchester United or Liverpool, and it being a televised sort of sport? Yeah, you can do. You can. I suppose you could do it where you've certainly got the players, Simon, from certain countries. It's all about the time frame, isn't it, and the time scale. You could have a 4-man team, maybe 4 men, 2 women. Where do you draw the line? You could do that sort of thing. But again, if it's going to be televised, what sort of format are you going to play? And also the time frame of it all. Yeah.
I think it'd be great. I think there's certainly scope for it. I don't see why not. Because in my eyes then, that's growth in darts in other countries. And think to yourself, well, there's only 2 men going up. I can't really qualify. Yeah. Even if I win this event, but I can get 3rd place. Oh, there's 4 men this year, isn't it? And there's 2 women. 4 men and 2 women, or just 4 men, or 2 men, 2 women.
So I'm guessing a lot of some of your best times in darts would have been around playing for England and team games, wouldn't they?
Well, I didn't actually play for England. I played England in a PDC event against a top Dutch team.
But you didn't play on the...
No, not in the BDO. No, I played I played an England PDC representative against a Dutch PDC representative, a week-long event, and that was great. That was absolutely brilliant. But rightly or wrongly, I still played it as a selfish attitude as an individual. For the simple fact is, if I win, I've got a point for my country. And also, it was a point system where it was then going to be a semi-final and a final.
So you wanted to be in that,
Yeah. So, but I just think the way darts is at the minute, there is, I can't really use the word scope, there is scope for trying some other things, whether it be trying some different formats or trying some different things in foreign lands. I think the game's got that big at this moment in time.
And you're obviously, you're doing the commentary, punditry, you're at exhibitions, events, you're still very much around the whole tour.
Yeah.
Are you genuinely seeing this younger audience and this big interest?
Yeah. I mean, Simon, yes, I'm 50 years old, but I only come off the tour, I think it was 2016. Most people don't know who I am anymore. They don't know me as Colin Lloyd, former World Matchplay, World Grand Prix and World #1. They don't know that, just think who. But that doesn't bother me, because that just goes to show how things can quickly change.
Yeah.
If you're not so like the player of today, you could be there at 1 minute, right up there. You have 6 months, 12 months, whatever, of mediocrity on the dartboard. You're falling down the rankings.
Very quickly.
You soon get forgotten about, not only by your or the players that you're competing against, but you certainly get forgotten about by the paying public, the audience that are sat at home watching on the telly, the darting public of the world, the darting fans. They soon forget about you, and you just think to yourself, yeah, but I was. That's where you go wrong. I was. Don't ever say I was. I am. And that's where some of these players now, the likes of Peter Wright and Gary Hansen, they've dug their heels in. They're both two-time world champions. You don't get handed a world championship, Simon, and you certainly don't get handed what they've achieved in the game.
And that world championship, one of the topics obviously is the Ali Pali itself, the venue. Would you like to see it moved, or what are your thoughts on that?
I go where it goes. I go where it goes. It's taken so long, Simon. So long. I remember I played in my first World Championships. I think it was 99 or 2000. 2000, I think it was. And it was down at the Circus Tavern, which was very easy for me to get to, being an Essex boy and whatever. I lost my first round game, and I will hold my hands up. I wasn't very well at the time. I was poorly. I'd got one of them sickness bugs that you get over Christmas. I got £750, Simon, for losing the first round of a World Championships. Now, people listening might go, yeah, but that was way back then. It's different now. It's different. Listen, what do you go to work for, Simon? You go to work because you love your job and whatever, but you go to work to get a pay packet. You go to work to earn money. The dart players you see on the telly, although it doesn't look like it, but believe you me, it is, because I've done it for the last 25 years. You go there to work. You go there for a pay packet. You don't.
Yeah, you can't continue doing what you love if you don't earn money doing it.
Simon, if you want to have a jolly up, why go to a dart tournament in America, Canada, Europe? Stay at home, go out with your mates. But it's still going to cost you money. You can go away to a darts event, be professional, enjoy yourself. That's the one thing I've always said about darts, enjoy it. Enjoy yourself. You can come home with a very, very good pay packet. Now, if the pay packet involves, for the good of the game and the growth of the game, moving it to somewhere different, then you do it.
Yeah, so
that's my opinion.
So that they're almost like the people who qualify can survive a year on tour. And as long as they use the money wisely to invest back in themselves.
Listen, I'm not being disrespectful about Alexander Pal. Far from it. Ali Pali's Ali Pali.
Yeah, it's
Christmas ain't Christmas without Ali Pali. But Can you go down the line then, Simon, of the World Championships? Can it be played with 128 players? Like you would say an Open, a Masters, and things like that.
Yeah.
If there's more prize money available,
bigger venues, more international qualifiers.
More international
opportunity
qualifiers, more
to find,
opportunities.
to uncover, haven't thought
people
about
that and listen, the PDC are blessed. They're absolutely blessed with the sponsors that they have at this moment in time. Absolutely blessed. There's people that are a part of darts now that you thought, really? Are they involved in darts? But that's the way that not only darts has gone, but the sport of darts. People have got to understand it's a sport, and it's a growing sport, and it's still growing. And I think to myself, Simon, if say they said we want to move the World Championships to Dubai, and the world champion this year, we want 128 players, and you being the first person up, first round, you lose your first game, and you get 15, 20 grand. 20 grand. Yes, you've won the qualifier, you'll be devastated. But £20,000, all right, it's a loss. It's a big loss and it's a hurtful loss. But £20,000, how much difference would that make to someone's lifetime? 20 grand for one game of darts. The other flip side of that is, if you're the last man standing, lady standing, because it is a mixed event, and you've got a cheque coming to you, you're not only the world champion, you've got £750,000. Don't tell me that ain't life changing, and don't tell me the top players wouldn't vote for that.
Yeah,
because
so
you'd be because that, not only being world champion, Simon, and getting that £750,000,
well, probably makes you world number one as well. Yeah,
world number one. That opens the door for opportunities for other things. If you see what I mean, TV appearances. You only have to look at the Luke Littler effect. That guy he's brought the crowds back to darts, and he has in some ways.
Yeah, but because the crowds were strong anyway, weren't they?
Oh yeah, they were. But because there
was a reason Luke started playing 10 years ago, because the sport had already transformed into a modern game.
But because he's 16 at the time, 17 now. Who would have thought there'd have been a dart player on the Jonathan Ross show throwing darts? I'm throwing darts on morning TV and in the States. And I'm not being disrespectful there to Luke Humphries, far from it, because Luke Humphries is a fantastic world champion, a fantastic world number one, and his record over the past 18 months speaks for itself.
Oh, unbelievable.
Absolutely superb.
Best player on the planet, really, wasn't he?
Yeah, but for me, I think the ocean's endless. And if you've got people want to come in and say, we want to do this.
Well, I think that's what you'll see now,
Players and fans.
Yeah.
You can't just dismiss it.
No.
The discussion has to be made, and you have to make, and then that's why you have a board, and you have a board of directors to make that decision. Yeah. We're doing what we feel is best for you.
For the sport.
For the sport and for the growth of the game. It's not all just about certain individuals. It's about the game as a whole. Game as a whole, and it's a worldwide game. And if it creates chances and opportunities for more players around the world, I'm all for it. Well, that was a long-winded answer.
That's all right. We got there, but And obviously, there's always is Colin going to play on the seniors ever? You must get that 17 times a day.
Yeah.
As yet, that's a no.
No, at this moment in time, no. I'm very happy.
You are throwing well, though.
I am throwing well. Yeah. I'm one of these people, Simon, that I've had a great career. It's not over, far from it. But I enjoy doing my work for Sky. I enjoy doing my bits for the PDC, spotting and commentating. I enjoy doing these bits with you guys, and sometimes having a chat with Bars when it comes to the majors and whatever. I still absolutely love doing my exhibitions. I love meeting the everyday darting fans. And if you're not a darting fan, hopefully I give you a little bit of entertainment, have a crack and have a laugh. I'm just happy with what I'm doing at this moment in time. I don't feel as though I've got a point to prove. In some ways, Simon, if I'm brutally honest, it probably does frighten me a little bit in the fact that I know full well deep down I'm not the player that I was, and I don't want people to turn up with the expectations of seeing the player that I was.
I think that's if you look at other sports, they've got that balance really right. And what you've got now are the audiences that do remember and were fans, and they're like, oh, it's nice to see those players back. I'm talking from a golf perspective. The seniors works. Yes, it's nowhere near as high as a level, but there was an event recently. Me and Beats went down to the seniors at Royal Portugal, and because of that target, more people recognised Steve that day. Because it was a seniors golf event than I've ever seen anywhere else. So I still think there's a lot of hard work being done around the seniors. Listen,
I totally agree with you. Listen, I know I've known Jason Tame of MODUS for so many years. I know you have close relations with him concerning obviously the players that he's got in his stable and whatever. And I chat with Jason all the time. All right, Colin? I said, all right, Jason, any point in asking? I went, no, not at the minute. Listen,
but it could.
You can never say never. But at this moment in time, Simon, I'm happy doing what I'm doing.
I think it goes back to, for you, it would be a completely, totally different focus change. It's almost like if you're a player, you've got to be a player.
See, this is the thing as well, Simon. This is what some people don't understand. People that know darts and have been involved in darts or play darts, whatever way you want to put it. I don't want to go back to that old lifestyle. I don't want to go back to that old lifestyle of competing. Like you've said, very kindly said, I still play darts to a very good level. I love having fun, standing on the hockey now, getting a microphone, ripping someone in the audience or whatever, or them ripping me. And I can just have a nice fun evening, have a little Q&A at the end of the night, have a little speech, thanks very much for having me or whatever. And I'm happy to do that in a minute. At this moment in time, competitive darts isn't really something that interests me at this moment in time. But listen, you never know.
Well, we know you'll be in and around the seniors, whether you're commentating, spotting, you're always around everything that's going on in darts. And I think that's what's great to see, is you've kept your finger on a pulse, and you're actually now showing some of the things that you talk about being a professional, because you are a lot fitter. You're probably fitter now than when you were playing.
Oh, I'm a lot fitter, but probably helps being 5 stone lighter. 5 6
stone lighter. Yeah,
5 6 stone lighter. Yeah.
Is that just the lifestyle that you were?
Yeah, it was just, and that's something as well, Simon, that frightens me a little bit. I don't want to go down that slippery slope again of doing the things that I'd done back then.
Of getting out of your training.
And I refuse point blank to get like that again. Like I said, I'm 50 years old now. I don't want something stuck out in front of me that makes me look I'm pregnant.
And you must feel
pregnant with twin elephants.
Yeah, well, you must feel 10 times better, 5 stone lighter.
Oh, I feel unbelievable. I feel great. Life's great, and like you said, I'm very fortunate that I got the work with Sky Darts. I still get work and with those guys, and also with the PDC, and it's great for me because darts is in my blood. Darts is in me. If you cut me in half, that would probably just say dart player, not Blackpool Rock. That would say dart player or former dart player, whatever you want to say.
And for those who are you're off to Munich next week to play with Phil Taylor in an exhibition.
Over there for some exhibitions.
You've got some more exhibitions over here, more. So whether you like it or not, you're not going to be not hearing from Colin Lloyd. Thanks for your time, for giving us your insights. Brilliant. We'll look for, as the events start to come thick and fast, we'll get some more of that. So thank you for coming, Colin.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
So there we have a fantastic interview there with Colin. We'd like to thank Colin for his time, and indeed Simon at Red Dragon for that fantastic interview. If you want to hear more of these interviews, why don't you check our YouTube page where you're watching this, and we've got all our previous interviews with the likes of John Henderson and the world champion Luke Humphreys. We've also got our other shows, the main show, the Darts World Weekly Podcast, and we've also got our profile segment as well, where we've got interviews with Natalie Gilbert and Jensen Walker. On behalf of Darts World Magazine, I am AJ Ermston Toft. Thank you for watching Let's Talk Darts, and we'll see you in the next round.
Bye.